Good morning students. In my previous lecture I have taught you about the Raoult's law for the solution containing a volatile solute and a non-volatile solute. In my previous lecture I have taught you these two topics, but now we are taking the numerical based on Raoult's law for the volatile solute as well as the non-volatile solute. Generally student confused to understand the question where which law will apply, the Raoult's law for the volatile solute will apply or Raoult's law for the non-volatile solute is applied. First of all, read the numerical carefully and find out that if there are two components and vapor pressure of both component is given, it means we will apply Raoult's law for the solution containing volatile solute. If there are two components is given but out of which on the vapor pressure of only one component is given, it means we will apply the Raoult's law for the solution containing non-volatile solute. So we will practice the numerical based on the Raoult's law. One of the numerical is that calculate the partial vapor pressure of C2H4Br2 1,2-dibromoethane. C2H4Br2, it is 1,2-dibromoethane at 85 degrees Celsius for an ideal solution with mole fraction of 0.25 and the vapor pressure of this is 170 mm of Hg. So we have to calculate partial vapor pressure of C2H4Br2, and we know very well that the partial pressure will always equal to partial vapor pressure of pure solvent and its mole fraction. In our numerical, vapor pressure of solution, pure solution is given. Pure C2H4Br2 is given, that is 170 mm, and its mole fraction 0.25 is also given. So we in this question we have to calculate the partial vapor pressure of the C2H4Br2. So partial vapor pressure of C2H4Br2 will be equal to partial pure vapor pressure 170 multiplied by 0.25. So if I remove decimal from here, so we will get here 100, 25 ones are 25 fours are 2 twos are 4, 2 eights are 16 or 2 fives are 8, 85 divided by 2 fours are 8, 2 twos are 4, 4255 mm of Hg. This will be the partial vapor pressure of C2H4 in Br2. Today we are practicing the numericals based on Raoult's law, and here first problem which the students faces is that which law will apply here. Raoult's law for the volatile solute will apply or Raoult's law for the solution containing non-volatile will apply. So first of all, read the numerical carefully. If there are two components and vapor pressure of both the component is given, it means we have to apply the Raoult's law for the volatile solute, and the formula is P solution equal to P naught A into XA plus P naught B into XB. But if there are two components is given in numerical, out of which the vapor pressure of only one component is given, mole fraction of that component is given, and nothing is given about the another component, it means the another component is non-volatile, and then after that we will apply Raoult's law for the solution containing non-volatile solute, and formula is P solution will be equal to P naught A into XA, or partial pressure of the component is equal to P naught A into XA. This is the formula. This numerical is based on the Raoult's law for the solution containing a non-volatile solute, because in this numerical only the vapor pressure of 1,2-dibromoethane is given, mole fraction of 1,2-dibromoethane is given. There is nothing about the component B or second component. So in such condition, I am applying here Raoult's law for the solution containing a non-volatile solute. Now again I am taking another question for the Raoult's law, in which question is 68.4 gram of sucrose. Sucrose means sugar. Formula is C12H22O11 is dissolved in 1000 gram of water. 1000 gram of water. Full stop. Vapor pressure of pure water. Vapor pressure of pure water at 25 degrees Celsius is 17.5 mmHg. millimeter of mercury. Calculate vapor pressure of solution. Calculate vapor pressure of solution. Vapor pressure of solution. Now, in this question, two components are clearly identified. One is sucrose, which is to be dissolved, means sucrose will act as solute. And another component is water, means water will act as solvent. So there are two components, one is sugar and another one is water. Now the vapor pressure of pure water is given, means water is volatile in nature. But vapor pressure of sucrose is not given. It means sucrose does not have tendency to form vapors, therefore vapor pressure is not given. So what we have to calculate? Calculate the vapor pressure of the solution. Means here also the one component is non-volatile. So we'll apply the formula P solution equal to P naught A into XA. Now what problem we are facing here? We have vapor pressure of pure solvent, that is 17.5 mN is given. But what is the value of XA? So first of all, we will calculate XA, then we will put value here and calculate the vapor pressure of the solution. So how will you calculate? Our solution is made up of water and sucrose. Water, weight of water is 1000 gram and molecular weight of water is 18 gram. So number of moles of water will be 1000 divided by 18. Similarly, weight of sucrose is 68.4 and molecular mass of sucrose is 342. So number of moles of sucrose will be 68.4 divided by 342. I will replace decimal from here. 342 tens are or 2s are 2 1s are 2, 2 5s are 10, so it will be 0.2. And what does it? 18 5s are 90, 55.55. So this is the number of moles of water and this is the number of moles of sugar, or you can say sucrose. Now we will calculate mole fraction. What we will calculate? We will calculate mole fraction. So mole fraction XA equal to Na divided by Na plus Nb. So 55.55 divided by 55.75. Whatever be the value, it will be 1.09 something. So it is the value of XA, or it will be the value of 0.09. It will be the value of 0.09. So the value of XA is 0.09. We have formula P solution equal to P naught A into XA. P naught is given here, that is 17.5 and XA is 0.09. By calculating it, we can calculate the vapor pressure of the solution. The unit of the vapor pressure of solution will be millimeter. So in this way, we can calculate the vapor pressure of the solution on the basis of the Raoult's law. Two conditions should be there. If they are talking about two components and vapor pressure of both components are given, it means both components are volatile. So we will apply Raoult's law for the solution containing volatile solid. But if there are two components are mentioned, but out of which the vapor pressure of only one component is mentioned, then under such condition we will apply the Raoult's law for the solution containing non-volatile solute. So these are the numericals based on the Raoult's law. Now on the basis of the Raoult's law, solution is classified into two classes. Classification of solution. Classification of solution. On the basis of Raoult's law, there are two types of solution. One is called ideal solution and another is called non-ideal solution. One is called ideal solution and another one is called non-ideal solution. What do you mean by ideal solution? Those solutions which obey Raoult's law at all concentration and temperature, they are known as ideal solution. And those solutions which do not obey Raoult's law at all concentration and temperature, so they are known as non-ideal solution. Obeys Raoult's law. Obeys Raoult's law at all concentration at all concentration and temperature. Do not obey Raoult's law. Do not obey Raoult's law at all temperature and concentration. At all concentration and temperature. So they are known as non-ideal solution. If the solution is ideal in nature, then the vapor pressure of the solution will always be equal to sum of the partial vapor pressure of its component. If the solution is ideal in nature. So in case of ideal solution, P solution vapor pressure of solution will be equal to PA, or P solution is equal to PA plus PB. When solute is non-volatile in nature, then vapor pressure of solution will be equal to partial vapor pressure, and when solute is volatile in nature, then vapor pressure of the solution will be equal to the sum of partial vapor pressure of its component. But if the solution is not ideal in nature, means non-ideal, under such condition, vapor pressure of solution will not be equal to PA. Vapor pressure of solution will not be equal to sum of the partial pressure of the component. This is the ideal solution. This is non-ideal solution. Now the third difference between ideal and non-ideal solution. When two components are mixed together and change in volume after mixing the two components is 0. Suppose I have a component A 100 milliliter, and component B is also 100 milliliter. If we are going to mix these two mixture, so volume will be 200 milliliter. This is the final volume which is represented by V2. And what is initial volume? 100 plus 100 is equal to 200. So the change in volume del V will be equal to V2 minus V1, means del V after mixing the two component is equal to 0. If after mixing the two component, the change in volume of the solution is equal to 0, means the solution volume neither increase nor decrease. So it will be an ideal solution. But in case of non-ideal solution, the change in volume will either be positive or negative, means the volume will either increase or decrease, means the del V mix is not equal to 0. So we will call it a non-ideal solution. So in case of ideal solution, change in volume after mixing the two components is 0, while in case of non-ideal solution, the change in volume after mixing the two components is not equal to 0, means the change in volume will either increase or decrease from the expected value. Now the fourth one difference between ideal and non-ideal solution. Whenever we mix two components in 9th and 10th standard as well as in 11th class practical, whenever we perform the practicals and mix two or more than two reagents together, then sometimes we feel that our test tube become hot and sometimes we observe that our test tube become cold. What does it mean? When the test tube become hot means during the mixing heat is liberated when the reaction is exothermic in nature. And whenever we feel that the test tube is cold, it means the heat is absorbed from the surrounding, means the reaction is endothermic in nature. So there are two types of reaction, one is exothermic and one is endothermic. When heat is liberated we call it exothermic reaction, and when heat is absorbed we call it endothermic reaction. So during the formation of a solution, if we are mixing two components and the solution which is to be formed is ideal, so the change, there will be no liberation of heat, means heat will neither be evolved out nor be absorbed out, means after mixing the two components, enthalpy of the solution will be 0. Change in enthalpy of the solution will be 0. But in case of non-ideal solution, sometimes heat is liberated, sometimes heat is absorbed, means change in enthalpy of the solution after mixing the two components is not equal to 0. It will be positive or it will be negative. Is that clear? So these are the differences between ideal and non-ideal solution. Once again I am going to repeat all of the differences here. Ideal and non-ideal solution. In case of ideal solution, the vapor pressure of the solution is always equal to the partial vapor pressure, sum of the partial vapor pressure of their component. And in case of non-ideal solution, the vapor pressure of the solution will not be equal to sum of partial vapor pressure of the solvent. Second difference is, in case of ideal solution, if the solution is ideal, they will obey the Raoult's law at all the concentration and temperature, while in case of non-ideal solution, they do not obey Raoult's law at all the temperature and concentration. Third, during the formation of ideal solution, whenever we mix the two components, then change in volume after mixing the two components is always equal to 0. Means the volume of solution neither be increased nor be decreased. But in case of non-ideal solution, whenever we mix the two components, then change in volume after mixing the two components is not equal to 0. It means the solution, volume of the solution will either increase or volume of solution will either decrease. Means this change in volume after mixing the two components will not equal to 0. Sometimes we have observed in our practicals that whenever we mix two reagents, then the test tube become hot or become cool. What does it mean? Means sometimes heat is liberated or heat is absorbed. Similarly, whenever we are going to mix two components and if the solution form is ideal, means in case of ideal solution, two components are mixed together, so the enthalpy of the solution is 0. Heat is neither liberated nor be absorbed. But in case of non-ideal solution, whenever we mix the two components, sometimes heat is evolved or heat is absorbed. Means change in enthalpy of the solution is neither be nor equal to not equal to 0. It will be positive or negative. So these are the differences between ideal and non-ideal solution. Now, what are the examples of ideal solution? If you want to identify the ideal solution, so the name of the component will be rhyming. There will be a rhyme in the name of the component. For example, N-hexane plus N-heptane. N-hexane plus N-heptane. They are sounding same. Heptane, hexane. So they are sounding same. Ethyl chloride plus ethyl bromide. Ethyl chloride plus ethyl bromide. Ethyl bromide, they are sounding same. So when the component's name is sounding same, so we will call it ideal solution. And when there is no rhyming between the component, for example, ethyl alcohol plus cyclohexane. Ethyl alcohol plus cyclohexane. Cyclohexane. So there is no rhyming between these two words, ethyl alcohol and cyclohexane. Chloroform and acetone. Chloroform and acetone. There is no rhyming between these two words, means they are non-ideal. So these are the examples of the ideal solution: N-heptane or N-hexane, and ethyl chloride or ethyl bromide, and ethyl alcohol or cyclohexane, chloroform and acetone. So we have studied about the numerical based on the Raoult's law for the volatile solute as well as the non-volatile solute, and the difference between ideal solution and non-ideal solution. Now I am coming to the next topic of the chapter, and that is deviation of solution from ideal behavior. Our next topic is deviation of solution from ideal behavior. In 11th class, we have studied about ideal gas and real gas, but none of the gas is ideal in nature. Similarly, none of the solution is ideal in nature, means no one solution correctly obeys the Raoult's law. What is the cause behind the deviation from the ideal behavior? We will study in this topic. There are two deviations of solution from the ideal behavior. One is positive deviation, and another one is negative deviation from the ideal behavior. What does it mean by positive deviation and what do you mean by the negative deviation? Positive deviation means everything will increase. That's why we call it positive deviation. And negative deviation means everything will decrease. So we will call it negative deviation. I am drawing a graph of ideal solution here. I am drawing a graph for ideal solution here. Graph for vapor pressure of ideal solution. Here I am taking two components. Here XA equal to 1, component A, and there is no component B, so the mole fraction of the component B will be 0. here component B. So value of xb equal to 1. There is no component A, so xa will be 0. This axis represent mole fraction, and this axis represent vapor pressure. This axis will represent vapor pressure. When I am heating the component A alone, then we will get a graph like this, and it will meet on this axis, so we will call it vapor pressure of the pure component A. Similarly, when we heat the component B alone, so we will get a vapor pressure like this, so we will call it vapor pressure of the pure component B. Now I am going to mix these two components, so definitely they will form the solution. And if after mixing the component, solution is ideal in nature, so what will be the graph? The vapor pressure of the solution will be equal to the vapor pressure of their component. So solution vapor pressure P solution will be equal to P naught T into XA plus P naught B into XB. Means if the sum of the vapor pressure of pure component and then mole fraction is equal to the vapor pressure of the solution, both are equal, it means the solution is ideal. So we will call it the graph for the ideal solution. In our next lecture, I will teach you about the positive deviation and negative deviation. Today it is sufficient for the day. Thank you very much.